Hi everybody, this is Diana in LA and Cary in the UK, and we're here to talk about this week's stars. Welcome to our weekly reading where we explore all things astrological. From our two different points of view in two different locations in the world, we bring to you a unique astrological perspective on what is happening right now across the globe. So here we go. Ooh, what a week. We start off with the big grand trine on Monday that'll open things up and feel some light in the air. Moving on to Thursday, where the sun moves into Leo, and that dynamic forward energy will begin again, the fire sign of Leo. And on the same day, Venus moves into Virgo. Powerful times these are. And then the following day, Friday, Saturday in the UK, Friday, 7:37 p.m., we have a big full moon with the sun in Leo, moon in Aquarius. So, big ideas are moving. People are starting to feel inspired. There's a lot of energy and excitement in the air. It's a really powerful time. Cary, what are you seeing on your side of the world?
Hi everybody, hope you had a good week. We have got quite a dynamic week coming up this week. It's going to be quite different from the last few weeks because, as Diana said earlier, there's a bit of a boost in the air. And for the UK, as on Monday, when there's that grand trine, that is when all the lockdown restrictions are being released. So you can go into a pub and actually stand up at the bar and have a drink, which you haven't been able to do, for example. But in the background of all this, you've still got the Saturn square Uranus. So what's the challenge for that? Well, the challenge for that is that since the football's been going on and lots of crowds have been taking lots of meetings and crowds have been coming together for certain events, the coronavirus has gone up at such a rate that it's the highest rate at the moment, not by hospitalizations, but rate of infection since January. So there's a lot of mixed messages. And on top of that, there's an app, an NHS app, which everyone is supposed to use. So the people registered on that, in the last week, 500,000 people have been pinged and have got to isolate for 10 days. So there's a bit of mixed messages going on because having the sun going into Leo is really good for the UK because the UK has Jupiter in Leo, right at 1 degree. So the sun is conjunct Jupiter, so that's great. The England feels good, Wales feels good, Scotland feels good. They all feel good because, one, we're having fantastic weather at the moment, LA weather, but there's this kind of freedom that people are feeling. But there's a dichotomy.
It's like opening and closing. Yes, no. And so the energy has this sort of push-pull through this week of big forward motion, people feeling ready to come out again, very anxious and enthusiastic is a better word, to go back out into the world, but at the same time, restrictions.
That's right. With regards to Monday, when you take into account that the UK is opening up on the restrictions and you look at that grand trine, so you've got the grand trine of the Sun, the Moon and Neptune. So Sun and Neptune, it's ideals and dreams, the Moon is emotions. That's a very powerful combination and there's going to be a lot of good feeling about. The Mercury sextile Uranus also frees up a different type of thinking. However, the Uranus is still squaring by Saturn. So it's not straightforward at the moment. It's kind of mixed signals, but people are feeling good.
And talking about the Monday chart with the grand trine in water signs. So you water signs are going to feel it, especially towards the end of the sign. We've got the sun at 27 Cancer, right? And the moon at 28 Scorpio. And we have Neptune at 23 Pisces. The water signs, it means it's emotional. It's a lot of feelings happening this week, and people are feeling more optimistic. But Sun is opposing Pluto all through the week long, and that is definitely something that is conservative, that pulls back, that creates an edge, that challenges. So that energy is also happening while we've got this beautiful grand trine. And like you said, Cary, I love that. Mercury sextiling Uranus, new ideas. We're going into space twice in 1 week. There's a lot of kind of hopefulness out there in the world, but it's squaring Saturn. So those structures, right, are not as certain as we wish they were.
We've just been through a T-square with Saturn, Mars and Uranus. And it's beginning to dissipate and we're beginning to feel good. But in a few months' time, Saturn starts going forward, make another square with Uranus. Mars will also be creating a T-square again. Whatever we sow now, we will reap in the future. And at the end of the year, that T-square makes an appearance again. Except this time, Mars won't be in Leo, Mars will be in Aquarius.
That's an interesting thing, Cary. This T-square that we've been dealing with all year long, and now it's breaking up, which means there's some relief of the tight squeezing that's been happening all year. And now we've got a little bit of relief, kind of, but then it comes around again. And then in December, for the last time it comes around, we're going to have this T-square one more time. And so it is a kind of reckoning at that time of year. Do we figure this out or not? You know, and with a T-square, you'd say, well, there's probably another something that comes up around this that we're going to have to deal with. But always these things act like clearings, right? It's like the healing crisis. We're in a healing crisis. The whole world is in a healing crisis. And so now that we've got the little bit of relief, we need to remember to be mindful through the whole period from now till December so that we don't create more difficulty.
There is an aspect that is coming up which will be quite challenging, but it's a quick one. As the sun's going into Leo, within 2 weeks' time, the sun will be forming a T-square with Uranus and Saturn. So that will be a time to look at what's happening in the news in relation to our structures, how they're being affected, what's happening with coronavirus, what's happened in the UK with the result of lockdown being, the restrictions on lockdown being lifted for 2 weeks. What are the ramifications of that? So that will be quite interesting on when that actually happens, and that's in 2 weeks' time.
Right, and so when you've got this Uranus-Saturn square all year long, right? Even though the T-square aspect is dissipating, any planet, like Cary's saying the sun now, we'll hit it in a couple of weeks, any planet, as all the planets kind of come around, potentially setting off that T-square or conjuncting the square, we're going to have more fireworks about the subject. What's the subject? Deconstruction, right? The healing of our planet, the breakdown of structures in the way that we have understood them, and a review of all of these great big institutions, in a way, of things that we've absolutely relied on that are changing.
Yeah, and the change is going to be huge.
So this week looks really interesting as we come to Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Very dynamic. Thursday, the sun moves into Leo. We're feeling our life force again. We're feeling ready to take on the world. We've got the sun moving into Leo, then Venus moves into Virgo. So that's a whole new way of dealing with our heart nature, right? So it's in Virgo. So you might find yourself getting on a health regime, right? Virgo, getting healthy, eating better, losing 5 pounds. I think everybody needs to lose 5 pounds right now, probably from being indoors for a year and a half, right? So there's that energy. Venus is opposing Jupiter. So there's like maybe the difficulty of taking on exercise or discipline, things that we want to change in our lives. The other thing is Mercury on Thursday is opposing the moon. So there's a lot of activity on Thursday with the changing of signs of Sun and Venus, then Mercury opposing the moon, and Mercury is opposing Pluto. Right? So there's all this energy. Meanwhile, Mercury also is trining Neptune. So I think it's really an interesting time, really, right now, this, especially as we go in towards the week, because there's so much kind of creative response to this.
Mercury trine Neptune on Saturday is a really nice aspect. In fact, out of all the aspects at the end of the week, after the full moon, Mercury trine Neptune with a 1 degree orb, 1 degree difference. The news that could be coming out could be very idealistic on that day.
Right. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, changing of the signs, Sun and Venus. Friday, Saturday too in London. We have a beautiful, big, great big full moon in Aquarius. New thinking, new ideas. It's conjuncting Saturn. So it means it's important, right? When the moon is conjunct Saturn, we're talking about importance, power, the import of something, importance, the import, the lasting effects of something. Moon conjunct Saturn. That's what we've got in the sky this weekend with this great big full moon.
Yeah, moon conjunct Saturn is actually a serious aspect. Yeah, anything that's involved with Saturn, you've got the moon, which is it's a real solid planet. So having the moon, which is the emotional planet, conjunct Saturn, which is a serious planet, so it's serious stuff. Whatever it is, whatever topic it is, it's going to be serious.
So, right, do you see how, as we are going out, this is back to this opening and closing feeling. Our heart opens, our heart is restricted. This is the energy of the week where we are feeling full of ourselves in a way, and we go back out into the world, but at the same time there's caution, carefulness, import.
On Monday, and I know you've mentioned it already, about people born at the end of the water signs are going to be affected by the grand trine. If you happen to have a planet at Venus, Moon, Sun, Mars, at those degrees, you are really going to feel that grand trine. It will be a very special day. It's not the kind of day that you would not recognize. It's something really nice will happen on that day.
So, we wish you a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Sunday with another broadcast of Astro UKLA. If you're looking to find us, you can subscribe to us on YouTube at Astro UKLA, or Instagram, or Facebook, and you can always contact us if you have a question. We love to hear your comments, and we hope you will share, like, and comment. See you next time, everybody. Have a wonderful Leo week.
Take care, everybody. Have a lovely week.